Yes. Okay, I'm here. Woo! Yes, I'm here. How are we doing? Hi, Elaine Marilaka Settleson here with Astrology Mojo. I want to help you get your mojo back. I'm sorry, I'm just a few minutes late. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk today about the eclipses and how your power of manifestation and a whole lot of other things. Whatever comes up, we're going to go with it. So come join me. Say hello. We are looking at how to really harness the energy of the eclipses that are occurring in Gemini and Sagittarius. In fact, not just November and December 2020, but also in 2021. There's going to be a series in May and June 2021, and then wrapping it up in December. So if you know where 8 degrees of Gemini is in your chart, 38 minutes, then you're looking at this November 30th, 2020 lunar eclipse. Then on December 14th, 23 degrees Sagittarius. December 14th, 23 degrees Sagittarius. How many minutes? 8 minutes. So if you know where that is in your chart, you have an idea of some of the topics that you can expect. Now, are these things happening to you just randomly because, oh, it's an eclipse, or, you know, like the Mayans used to think, we need to sacrifice to the gods so that we have a plentiful harvest. Let's go behead some people. No. No, I think we've advanced beyond that. At least I hope we have. So I know in America it's pretty intense right now. Today is November 5th, 2020. And I was going to talk about their charts, but you know, people then might get heated and start talking politics, and I don't talk politics because it's about you creating your reality, no matter who sits in that chair in that house in America. It's about you creating your reality. And what's interesting is that I will say this, that Donald Trump is a Gemini with a Sagittarius moon, and Joe Biden is a Sagittarius rising. This is exciting, isn't it, from an astrological point of view? Now, when the whole thing is over, I will go in and I'll talk about their charts and what that looks like. So I can show you pointedly what eclipses look like in a major campaign or a push for a thing. But we're going to talk about that today and how you can harness this energy. Hey, Christine's here, and Sasha as well. Thanks for joining me. So always remember that the planets don't do anything to you. We live in a cooperation with the cosmos so that when the planets make a move, you feel it. When you make a move, that's reflected in astrology by way of aspects and angles. So, you know, I often say that the sun and the moon aren't planets, and they have a little bit more effect on what goes on around town. You know, do you go batty when there's a full moon? Maybe, maybe not. It's, you know, everyone's going to have a different experience. I want you to think of this like the environment changing. When the environment changes, you personally will have a response or a reaction. So as I have talked about, is this crooked? As I have talked about in previous shows, where you can suddenly be in a place that's really hot and humid, and you love that, you will thrive. If you don't love it, you'll find every which way to complain about it. And that stops your manifesting power because you're the one who's making it happen. And you still may not believe that because you'll look for evidence of it in your life and say, well, yeah, I meditate and I'm going to take on a Valley girl. And I meditate and it's totally not happening. And why did that, you know, fender bender happen? I just totally don't get it. Okay. I sat on a bus once when I lived in California. And I'm telling you, I heard that. That's what I heard behind me, sitting behind me. That was in 1985, I want to say, maybe 84. It was right around the time of the Olympics. Anyway, I got on a bus late at night coming home from work because I was working a double shift. I was painting artwork on tiles and in Santa Monica, and I was so tired and I needed a lift. I needed a spiritual lift, and the universe provided once again. So these two teenagers come and sit behind me, and one is like, I just totally don't believe it. And the other one was, oh, totally. I could totally relate. It's like, thank you. Thank you. I needed that. And I just wanted to turn around and before I got off the bus and say, totally. So are we having a totally eclipse season? Yeah, we are. And hey, Mary's here. Mary. What's really important to recognize is that the planets, even the sun and the moon, aren't ultimately going to have a say. Unless, of course, there is no sun, and then we have to live underground like moles or starve. Or if there is no moon, we tumble out of orbit, right? That's where we go with that. But since that's not going to happen right away or anytime in your lifetime, what we are looking at as I play with my Destiny Spirit cards, and I will pull a card for the group, but what I am looking at is your ability to create alignment. I've talked about this for years. I don't know if you can, okay, alignment, body, mind, spirit, alignment. When that is aligned, you're okay with it. Whatever it is, you're okay with it. So when are you not? Well, look for evidence in your world right now of the things that you are complaining about. Whatever you're complaining about is what's going to manifest on some level, because you're giving it an agenda. You're giving it energy and focus. That's just how that works. So if you're also looking at, well, I do work really hard, and it's like I've been working on this business thing and it's not happening, and then COVID happened and then it's really not happening, or I'm working for this relationship thing and it's not happening. So basically you want to ask yourself during these eclipses, because the lunar eclipse in Gemini, wherever that is in your chart, remember, if you're just joining us, we are talking about the eclipses and how to manifest and fast track your desires. And the lunar represents feminine energy. An actual woman could be you, your feminine side, a gay person in your life. It could represent an emotional thing, high emotion, traumatic emotion, an event, the undercurrent of what you're not aware of consciously. The Goethe would have said the otherness of the other. So you look at you, and sometimes you don't realize the effect that you have in this world on people. You're just like, la, 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 doing my thing, and then you turn around. And if you could turn around literally and look at images of the people you have affected, It's a Wonderful Life, you would hear that little bell and say, oh my gosh, I have done more than I thought. And at the same time, I'm still not happy. I'm still not fulfilled. I still don't get what I want. Well, let's not focus on what you don't want, because in the absence of the thing that you want, that's where we go naturally, because we always look for evidence, don't we? So the lunar eclipse will bring up in Gemini what you're thinking about that you don't realize you're thinking about. Or if you realize that you're thinking about it, it brings up how you're thinking about it. Gemini represents adaptability or control. So, and it's very extreme. If you know any Gemini, if you are a Gemini or Gemini rising, you might be thinking, oh, yeah, this is cool. I love this. And whatever this is, this person, this object, this business, this career, this idea, this cake, whatever the thing is. And then suddenly, ooh, right turn. Because I want to go explore that and leave that in the dust. And I've mentioned this before, but I have a very dear friend who is a Gemini, and they are a musician. Now, excuse me, they're not a practicing musician anymore because they decided to make one of those right turns and said to me one day, many years ago, yeah, I've always wanted to be a lawyer. You have? Okay. When? What does always constitute? Like all your life? But you just never talked about it? I don't get that. That's hysterical. And so now they are an attorney. And after many years of being an attorney, they have brought music back into their life. So, the Gemini energy goes back and forth to experience how to be adaptable, how to create that information center of, you need something? Wait, let me flip through, how old am I? My Rolodex, my phone. This used to be flipping through the Rolodex, those of us who are over the age of 45 or 50. But now it's like scrolling on your phone. Okay, so then what do we expect? How to let something go. Lunar usually is about letting something go, but it doesn't have to be a negative. It really does not have to be a negative thing. Does that make sense? Are you ready to complete something? Are you ready for something? A lot of times people will say, I'm working on it, working on my degree, working on my masterclass, astrology masterclass. Well, apparently I'm not ready. And when I tuned in months ago, I knew I wasn't ready because I had things I wanted to focus on in the class that I have not had time to research on. I just don't want to just put it together. I am almost there, and I am almost ready to be ready. So a lot of times we say we're ready, but then the thing doesn't show up. So that is evidence of what you're unconsciously focused on. Does that make sense? You're unconsciously focused on something that, not yet, it's too big, it's too much, it's too wow, I don't know if I can handle it, or because, if you could and you thought you could, we know that you can, but if you thought you couldn't, it's over there. You need binoculars, it's in the distance. It's almost here. I can feel it in my bones. It's coming. But if it's not here, that's okay. Does it make sense? So you want to really say, to get in tune with during this eclipse phase. Before we go into the method, let's just talk about the solar eclipse that happens on December 14th. We're already in the energy of it. And if you have any version of Gemini or Sagittarius in your chart, sun, rising, moon, major placement planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, Jupiter. If you have Sagittarius or Gemini in those places, you've been feeling this all year. What's next? How do I get there? What do I do? I don't know if it can happen. I mean, most of us are there anyway, but we're there with different subjects. And that depends on where this lands because the axis is an opposite. So if it's in your third house, it's also in your ninth house. If it's in your first house, it's also in your seventh house. If it's in your 11th house, it's also in your fifth house. Do you see what I'm saying? So those are the topics you bring together and say, oh, I don't have the romance I want. I don't have the harmony I want at home in my relationship with my spouse or my family or my parents. Or I don't have the thing with creativity or giving birth or having a child. Because this is a massive change for a lot of people. And so you look at the axis on the Gemini, which is Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is, on the high side, it's culturally adaptable. It's excited about learning. It's spiritual. It's creative. It's got a design sense, a photographic eye. It searches for the truth because it's excited about the journey, not the arrival. On the downside, it's cynical, judgmental, dismissive, and very stubborn. So when you look at where these things are in your chart, you might think, okay, what have I been stubborn about? What have I not been willing to let go of control regarding? Let me just check in real quick. I have to go to a different thing. Okay, hi, Sasha. Valley Girl all the way. Ha, 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 ha. Hi, Patty's here. Deborah. Sasha says, I think I get it. So then the eclipse is basically showing whatever subconsciously we have not completed within our shadow work. That is true for the lunar eclipse. The solar eclipse shows you the big spotlight, what you have been focused on. Oh, surprise! because maybe you weren't aware of it. It's not always a conscious, unconscious thing. It's not always that black and white, but yes to what you're saying. So that if you're saying, yeah, I'm going to paint that picture. And I've been assembling the right colors and I started working on it. It doesn't feel quite right. There's something wrong about the cyan color or the magenta color. I don't know what it is. I'm painting this picture. I'm not there yet. So now in the eclipse energy, what comes up is why you're not there. The big aha can be that for a lot of people. And sometimes the realization is, I don't want to be finished. And you're thinking immediately following that thought, if you have that thought, no, I really don't want to be finished. Especially Sagittarius energy never wants to be finished. I said this once to a Sag rising client of mine who for 25 years, I've had this client, has kept saying, well, I want this thing, I want this thing, I want this thing. And I said, okay, let's just say you get this thing, then what happens? I don't know. Then what happens? Oh my gosh. Then I'm done? Do I leave the earth? And I was like, no, no, of course not. So sometimes when we have the realization that we are thwarting ourselves, we are sabotaging ourselves, we want to replace that with, no, but then, Mars was in my 10th house, but now it's retrograde, so why bother looking for a job? Okay, we're going to stop using other things outside of us, whether they relate to astrology or not, as excuses for what we have or don't have. Just be honest. Just be honest. I love that thing. I can't wait to finish that painting, but I'm enjoying the process so much that it's not going to be done for a while. If you're that honest, do you know what happens? Other areas of your life suddenly fall into place because you've removed resistance. What have I been talking about for 25 years? Resistance is futile. You will be assimilated. Resistance is the marker of your powerful ability to stop abundance in its tracks. Wow, you're cool. We all are. We can do that, and we do it all the time. You can give it a name. You can go to a tarot reader, a psychologist, breath work, Reiki, pick your polarity therapy. It doesn't matter where you go. Whatever you resonate with is going to help you get closer to the reason why you resist abundance. You were born abundant. You are always abundant, but you don't always allow it to come to you. So then, knowing that, even if you don't believe it, just let's go with this one, okay? Because we're in this eclipse energy and it's a fast track of energy where suddenly, boom, lunar eclipse. Oh my gosh, I'm grieving something. I don't know what it is, and you're going to want to immediately put it on something. Well, they were supposed to call me back. They didn't. And in fact, they never call me back when they say, okay, stop. Whatever is happening on the inside, just let it be an emotion that you're purging, that you're releasing. Remember, because we still have Pluto in Capricorn. It doesn't mean the planet's doing something to you. What it means is that to the core, to the bone, to the molecule, to the cellular level, you are now being guided to change, to recognize first, just become aware of it. Oh yeah, I do that. Why resist something? When we get defensive, we are resisting something. When we get stubborn, I can't believe they did that. Why can't you believe it? You're not them. You're not in their thoughts process. You don't see through their experience. Everyone has their own experience. So when people have been asking me, well, who's going to win this election? I already told my husband 3 nights ago who was winning this election and why. But we're not going to talk about that now because I don't go political. But the bottom line is, no matter who wins any election in any country in the world, you still have the power to create your own reality. That's the point. Does that make sense? Okay, so here's what we want to focus on. That said, you want to start looking at statements that you're making. First, figure out what it is that you've been trying to accomplish and you can't seem to. And maybe it's as simple as, I just feel sad all the time. Okay, well, I always say go to the body-mind connection. And if you're not eating well, if you're not hydrated, if you don't have the proper nutrients, if you are lacking vitamin D, there's depression right there. But get it confirmed and validated by health professionals. If you have had something recurring, a constant doom and gloom, you want to open your mouth. And if you've got mercury in your mouth, you want to think again about that and possibly having it removed. Do your research, because chemical oppression equals a mental disassociation from your truth. Simply put, a chemical oppression can equal depression, and depression is something that is not allowed to be free. It's just an emotion that is being held, an opportunity that you think you can't have, and those are the not enoughs in life. And so once you get jiggy with the, I can take care of my body and not feed it alcohol, sugar, and drugs when I feel like I can't deal with something. So then you go into a sober place, and that sober place is, oh wow, I noticed, and it's not just what you're ingesting. I noticed that every time I'm overwhelmed, I binge watch something for 20 hours. Well, beyond 90 minutes of any kind of digital transmission, you have suppressed your brain activity. That's a scientific fact. So, but it's fun, right? Because you get to escape. But then when you come out of it, it's like, what's not the traditional, what's the word? Well, we'll just say traditional image that you have of tech people who are coding HTML. They're in a dark room, no windows. They're drinking soda, eating, tasty cakes, and they're pale because all they do is stare at the screen, right? That may not be true, but I'm just saying that's the impression we get. Well, that happens when there's too much technology and your cells don't get a chance to separate and decluster. It is also scientifically proven that when cells are in pain, emotional or physical, they cluster together. So during this particular lunar eclipse in Gemini, November 30th, we're already in the phase. Start meditating now, every day a little bit. Focus on what's the one thing that you can't seem to get ahead of, and what the resistance might be around it, what you keep defending yourself against or for. And then as you focus on that, now we're going to relax that focus. And we're going to say, okay, let me just admit the fact, because you may not realize that you're doing this. Let me just first admit the fact that I am so upset about that, or I'm so frustrated that that's not happening, or I've been trying and it's not coming. So whatever that topic is, from the inside out, you're going to start. Clean, healthy water. You're going to eat really well. You're going to work out your body. You're going to move it. It needs, like you have to oil a squeaky wheel. Your body needs to move. It just does. And that releases dopamine and certain endorphins that can help you feel better, happier, more optimistic. So we're changing the inner environment. Remember, environment is everything with mood. It's a proven fact. If you don't like your internal environment, that's up to you. The external environment may be, okay, well, right now maybe you can't move, maybe you don't have the funds, or better stay put until you get that other job. But how do you get that other job? Well, this is what we're talking about. You remove resistance from the focus. Instead of saying, gosh, I've been working so hard and it's not coming. It's not coming. Guess what's not coming? The thing that you're working so hard for. Guess what the universe is going to give you more of? Whatever you're echoing, whatever the period is on the sentence, that's what you're going to get. Oh, what a shocker for some people, right? So I want you to say to yourself, I'm ready for, during this eclipse phase, and the eclipses happen 2 weeks apart in tandem. Sometimes it's the lunar first, sometimes it's a solar first. Either way, one casts a glow from underneath your emotional self, the feminine receptivity self, the vulnerable self, the wounded self. Also, the part of you that is empowered without having to do so much. Then the solar eclipse is the masculine version. It could be an actual man. It could be a gay individual. It could be someone who, a part of you that is proactive. So the lunar eclipse casts a glow on what you're manifesting on an unconscious level. And it can deal with feminine. It also deals with releasing and letting go of. What are you letting go of? We'll find out, won't we? It could be an idea, a judgment, a pattern, a habit, a belief system, and everything you think becomes a belief system if you think it long enough. Whether it's positive, negative, or neutral. Mostly it's never neutral. So, does that make sense? So then the solar eclipse is like a big spotlight is put on you from the universe. It's like, this is what you manifested. Look and see, turn around, look what you did. So in some cases, it's going to be, oh my gosh, I just won the lottery. In romance, in my health, with something I'm working on, a project, with realization, with becoming more present. I've been working really hard at being present in as many moments as possible so that I can create my world consciously. And I get it. And if it's not a feeling inside your body, if it's not a core feeling, it's still not happening. Because it takes emotion to couple with the thought. So let's look at the emotion as a lunar eclipse and the thought, the solar eclipse. And when the two come together and they orbit each other, they work together, it's synchronous. It's inside of you. Suddenly you are creating molecules that create a vibrant energy, and that energy is a frequency that you output. That's what you get back. Make sense? So in those moments between now and the end of December, what I'd like you to focus on, and I'm going to be doing eclipse readings. They are essentially 6 readings combined into one. So I've never done that before. It's an hour reading. I will post the link right now. And in them, you get all the eclipses that are coming up, not just the next 2. November 30th, 2020, December 14th, 2020, May and June 2020, and then again in May and June 2021, and then again December 2021. All those are going to equal an open door for you incrementally, because we don't like to go fast. We say we want to jump off the cliff and learn how to fly, but we really don't, because we're scared, and that's natural and normal, and that's part of our ego keeping us safe. But at some point, we have to let go if we want that thing. I likened it to, did I talk about this the other day in Facebook? I'm not sure. I know I talked about it with a client who was attached to something, and I said, in the movie Polar Express, there's that little boy who lives on the other side of the tracks, doesn't have a lot, but he gets pulled into this opportunity to make a transition, to make a change, to have a different point of view. So he gets to the place where all the toys are made, and he sees his name on a box, and he freaks out. He's like, that's what I want. Oh my God, that's mine. And so he attaches to it, and he won't let it go. And the friends are saying, no, it's okay. It's okay. You got to trust. You got to let it. And then the elves come in and say, hey, listen, kid, you're going to get what you need. Just trust. Let it go. And he finally lets it go. It takes a lot of effort because his desire is so great for the thing. And he's holding on like Christmas just doesn't work out for me. That's what he says. Christmas just doesn't work out for me. And he grabs the box because it's got his name on it. And finally, when he lets it go and he goes back home and he's like, oh, well, I let it go. Now he's just dealing with the fact that he let it go. And then he runs into the house. There's a Christmas tree up with lights, and he runs outside with the box, raising it up like triumphant. Yay, gotta let it go. And then the phrase is, Christmas always works out for me, and every day is Christmas. Or replace the word Christmas with, I'm not talking about religion at all, and I'm not talking about Santa Claus at all. I'm talking about the ability to let something go. Life always works out for me. My dreams always work out for me. My health always works out for me. My relationships always work out for me. My career, my money, pick a topic. It always works out for me, and every day I receive that blessing. So if you're ready, even if you're not, I want you to start making this statement every day, okay? It is, I'm ready for complete and total happiness, abundance, sublime health, harmonious relationships, cash. I'm ready for complete and total happiness. I'm ready for complete and total fill in the blank. And when you do, I want you to be so aware. Do this after a meditation. So aware of the part of you that is like, the one thought that goes, yeah, it's not going to happen. Wait, what? I'm ready for complete and total fill in the blank. Wait, some part of me, like I'm tuning in. I'm tuning in. The big head, earphones and radio. What? And so journal, write it down. Get specific, get detailed. What just happened? Oh, some part of me says, no, it's not going to happen. Okay, once you acknowledge it, we don't want to focus on it because then we're only going to go back to the beginning. You acknowledge the honest statement that comes out of your body. I don't feel ready because I don't want to be ready. It could be that simple. I don't want to be ready because I want to be ready when I want to be ready. Okay, great, done. Then come back to, I'm ready for complete and total fill in the blank. And this is a continuous thing to refocus, reshift your mind to have alignment, body, mind, spirit. Spirit's always present, ready to work, ready to be in your awareness. Does that make sense? I'm just going to check in real quick here. So Christine's missing in-person human connection. And that is a real thing. So you can say, I'm ready for in-person human connection. Safe and healthy in-person human connection. I'm ready for it. And then when it comes to that moment, people said to me, you flew on an airplane in COVID? And I was like, yeah, because I don't have the belief that I'm going to get sick. I just don't. I already had it. I truly believe I already had it back in January. And I was sick with something weird. And so was my friend. And we went on vacation together. Now, Dean did not get sick after that. But, and then I didn't see anybody else because we basically live like hermits anyway. So I flew out to Portland to see my kid and also to have alone time in this awesome little B&B with a fireplace and cute little kitchen. And I baked and I wrote, worked on editing my second novel. So you see, the belief just wasn't there. Not even an inkling. There wasn't even a what if? No. I was safe. I wore my mask. I washed my hands. I take my vitamins. I work out. I'm healthy. I have vibrant health. And if something should come up in the shadow phase, then that shows me more about the parts of me that are unconscious, that are not compliant with my conscious wishes. It's not a positive and it's not a negative. It's like, oh, I've just learned more about me. That if something comes that you're not expecting and you've been focused on, I'm letting it go, I'm stepping back, I'm present in as many moments, I feel the negatives and the vacuum, I feel the gap that's missing, but then I refocus on, I'm ready for complete and total fill in the blank. Then eventually you come up to speed. What is coming up to speed? It means alignment. Then you come up to speed with the thing that you're wanting to manifest. But we have so many parts to us. We're very complex beings, and we fragment. We say we want one thing. We do this a lot. So what do we do first? I want a job, but it's got to be this much money. I want a job, but it can't be in that city. Oh, please don't let it be in that city. I want a job, but I don't want to work with people who wear perfume. Okay, so we do this, and then we do this. So, and it's good to get clear. I'm not saying don't do that. You have to get clear. You need to get clear, and the eclipses shed light. So it'll help with your clarity, not with the finalization, manifestation of the thing you've been wanting since you were 2. That's not what the eclipses do. They fast track your awareness to your resistance. Does that make sense? La la la. It's time to wake up. I can't wake up. Help me from this thing that I've become. I can't wake up. I want help, Evanescence. I want help, she's singing. But what is the echo saying? I can't wake up. But you can't. So a lot of times, we look at what we're not getting. Yeah, I love my spouse. They're very kind. But is the bridge that takes you to resistance. But I'm really happy and grateful, but is the bridge that takes you to resistance. I love where I live, but I love what I do, but who knows? My aunt used to do that. But, pointing to her butt, who knows? So to create that healthier bridge, it's just about being more responsible with who you are, what you're thinking and feeling, and what you're telling the universe you want. So if somebody says to you, hey, you want to go to this thing? We're all going to have mass. It's very clean. And some part of you is like, hey, sounds like fun. Yeah, I don't know. What if I have to sanitize my clothes like Silkwood? Like Cher and Silkwood? Then you're setting yourself up for self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, they said they were clean, but I came home and I caught a bug. I knew it. I proved myself right, that I wasn't going to get what I needed, that it's not enough, that I'm not safe. That's the part of you that is a constant chatter, like 1,000 monkeys. But then your powerful conscious intention walks into the woods, into the jungle, and all the chattering stops because they know the power has arrived and the focus is about to change. So where is it going to go now? Where's it going to go now? Well, the lunar eclipse is going to show you some stuff. So whatever happens on the outside world, whatever happens in the outside world, we still want to be focused in here, okay? Because that's really the more powerful manifestation. And you might look at someone and begrudge them their joy. Let's just say you voted for one person and your neighbor voted for somebody else, or your spouse, or your daughter, or your son, or your cousin voted for somebody else, and you're about to get into it. But if you stopped the resistance and it's like pieces of tension just fall to the floor and you say, oh wow, but that made you so happy. I'm happy that you're happy. What if we did that? Watch what happens. Now go do that with anything else in your world. It's called conscious creation. And you say, but I worked on it. I did. I worked so hard. And then somebody rear-ended me at the supermarket and then they took off. Okay. Initial reaction would be, damn, shoot, crap. Then 3 seconds later, what's the next reaction? Well, at least I have insurance. At least I'm covered. At least I have the cash in the bank to have it fixed. At least there's something else. The at least is the deflation of the resistance. The but builds the bridge to the resistance. But why did it have to happen to me? The why question always brings up a defense. Why did you do that? Well, and if you're asking yourself, why are you doing that? Imagine how defensive you're going to get. Is this making sense? Does this help you? I want you to understand that you have the power to, I'm going to flip these cards now. You have the power to move that energy in your mind. And people have said to me in the past, well, what about all the people causing harm? What about the kids, the animals who suffer? It's hard to watch, isn't it? So you can shift your thoughts from outrage to, I wonder what group I can support who's going to do something about that. If I can't do something, maybe I can support a group, send out emails, donate some cash. I'm so grateful that that group exists, because that then someone that I don't know is going to get their needs met. You see, it's shifting from let's grumble about and let's complain and grumble. See, look at those people. Yeah, they exist. Do you want to give them energy? You want to give them, what do you want to give them? Justice is what you want, but justice doesn't come from fighting. It just doesn't. Stand up. Have a belief. Voice your opinion. But on the inside, you need to trust that your needs are met. And they will be. That's hard. That's a hard jump for a lot of people. That's a hard one. It was for me. I'm 60 years old now. When I was 22, man, I tried so hard to believe that. I really did. And I would find myself in situations where I look back now and go, oh, how did I not get mugged, attacked, fall ill, die? How did that not happen? Because the majority of me believed and trusted that my needs would be met. But then there was the rest of that, the not enoughs. That's not enough. So then the boyfriend wasn't enough, and then the job wasn't enough, and then the bills mounted, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So then I realized if I keep looking at what's not enough, it gets bigger. How do you fill the hole when you keep digging it? How do you fill the hole when you keep digging it bigger? You can't. You have to reverse the process. Reverse the process. All right, now I'm going to pull a card for everyone. And my dog is tippy-tapping around me like, it is snack time, Mom. You can wake up right now. Wake up. The eclipses are going to show you what you've been manifesting, what you've been thinking. And sometimes you're thinking, well, I'm working on this. This is what I'm working on. So I should see a result. And if you don't, but over here the door knocks and you've got something you wanted 5 years ago or last year, and you're like, I gave up hope because you let it go. It came to you. Do you get that? That's what's going to happen for a lot of people. So getting back to Christine, I'm not minimizing, but you're missing in-person human connection, then find some. But you got to trust that you're going to be okay. That Sagittarius part of you might be thinking, I don't know, it's kind of icky, tricky, blicky, I don't know. I know this, that I know two doctors, I've mentioned this before. One believes because she studied immunology, and that was her main focus in school. And she has a clean office. She wears a mask when the patients come in. She keeps her distance, and then she asks them, are you comfortable if I took my mask off? And if they're not, she keeps it on. If they are, she takes it off. Because she knows that when you touch something and you get a germ, you build an immunity to it, unless you have some rare, strange disease or complications. So, but science is what happens until it gets proven. Science is just everything until it gets proven or disproven, until something works. So then she has a colleague who is geared up with the gloves and the coat and everything all the time. And the first doctor said, but you need some fresh air or you will build pathogens. And the other one says, yeah, but, this thing is serious. And the first one, doctor says, of course it's serious. But we have to find a way to work with it without fear so that we can overcome it. So then the doctor with the intense attitude about the pathogens and the disease and the the spreading and the cleanliness, now has COVID. So people would say, well, how does that work? Does that mean that cleaning your environment, wearing gloves or a mask isn't valid? No, it means she had the belief that she was going to get it no matter what. That's what that means. And she's recovering. But so the attitude that you have around something, when you're told, oh, you're going to lose your job, that's a sucky thing. That's a sad thing. So I think I want you to at least focus on I have complete and total readiness for the process, if it's not the actual thing. I am completely ready for the next positive thing, whatever that is for you. Now, you might be so specific that it's got to be that one thing. I worked on that thing, and that's the thing that I need to show results. But maybe that's not what comes. So you got to back up. Gemini is an energy that's like, it's this way, and it is that way, and that's the way it is. On the downside. On the upside, it's, oh, well, that didn't work. Let's try that. But it throws you, doesn't it? When you work so hard, when you do A plus B equals C. Sam Pythagoras told me that's how it works. We are not always mathematical in our approach to things. We want it, we don't want it. We're not sure we want it, we're definite we want it. We want it, and then we forget about it. And then we want something else. But that other thing comes when we weren't expecting it. Ta-da! So you do have power. You just got to get in alignment with when you are focused on something. And for how long, then let it go. I've talked about making thought forms, right? If you've done my private workshops in the past, you have a thought form, you start to build it. You rub your hands together. This is a very fun thing to do. You rub your hands together and you just kind of activate the heat. Okay? You activate the heat and you say, this is my energy. And it's powerful, and it's unique, and it's source energy, and it's resource energy. And I'm now going to mold it. And in that space of this creative, intentional thought wave that I'm putting into this energy ball is going to be this one dream that I have to plant a garden, to have a healthy relationship, to you figure it out, and it starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you might work on it for a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and you go, you know what? I have to go eat lunch. So you put it down on the dresser and you say, I'm going to come back to it. It doesn't quite feel ready. And then you come back to it and you pick it up and you work on it again. Suddenly it feels like it's full of you. You're at the center. You are manifesting this thought form, this energy, this, desire that you want so badly. And then you realize, I have to let it go now. So you send it off into the universe and you say, and I am complete. Thank you. It's already done. You've already put it out there. Now it's trying to come back to you. But why can't it come? Well, because you want that happy, harmonious relationship, but you're not willing to work at it. You're not willing to go to counseling. You're not willing to concede. You're not willing to stand up for yourself. You're not willing to do certain things. You are resistant. So how can it come to you? And you can't change anybody. So it's not about the person. You can't change a person and their behavior. You just cannot. You can't. Do you understand that? You can't. But what you can do is change your attitude, your perceptions, your receptivity to it. Like, oh, I really thought that. We worked at this together. I witnessed many relationships, not just my own, but in watching people navigate relationships. Do this. No, don't do that. Now do this. And it's like a performance act. So if somebody is quiet enough, the spouse is okay. If somebody voices, then the spouse is not okay. If somebody's ready to make a change, the spouse is like, what are you doing? So there has to be give and take, but it starts on the inside. It's not about changing somebody else. So let's say this thought bubble was about you would like to be recognized for your work, whether that means compensation, more clients, an easier way of reaching an audience, and you say, I would like the universe to help me with this because I can't see everything. Maybe it's a radio show, maybe I do a Facebook Live, maybe I do Zoom workshops, maybe it's a book that I'm writing. So however it needs to come to you, don't just do them all because they're on the checklist of, manifesting marketing madness. Do the one that you resonate with the most. Like, oh, I like that one. That's the one that speaks to me. Yay, like a little kid. And you're riding hey, we got our new tricycle yesterday. I was riding it. My thighs went to jello. That thing was not easy, let me tell you. And it has 7 speeds. But it was fun. It's my new workout. So you have the opportunity now to see what you're resisting and why. The why is not as important as recognizing that you're doing it and then accepting the fact that you're willing to change it and be ready for a complete and total fill in the blank. Okay, does that make sense? Hey, Gallet's here. I'm missing in-person connection. At least I have Skype. Yes, you have Skype. Absolutely. Gallet, better late than never. You're never late. You're always on time. A wizard always arrives when he means to. Just joining. The upcoming full moon and eclipse in Gemini, always learning from you and understanding what it means for this triple gem, gem, gem. You are the gem. You will find the gem in I during this eclipse phase. And as I said before, and I'll talk about this more on Monday. What is today? Yes, I will. I'll talk about it on the 9th. I'm going to cover again what the eclipses can represent for each of the signs, but also let me say, I said I was going to. I was talking about the... I'm going to pull a card. I've been playing with them the whole time. But the readings that I'm giving, so they are eclipse readings, not just for this November and December of 2020, but also for May and June 2021 and December 2021. So that we're going to look at all the Sagittarius Gemini axis with the North Node and South Node, Gemini Sagittarius axis, in your chart, what it means and how you can let go of some karma, how you can really fast track your dreams, how you can emphasize the thing that you're creating, how you can emphasize your role in it in a conscious, intentional way. And so that's literally like 6 readings packed into 1 hour. That is going to be, I've got 8 left, and then I'm going to promote today to my list. So let me see if this does it. The eclipses, karma, and you session, 1 hour with me, and it's recorded and sent to you. And then I give you stuff to focus on and defocus on. Is that a word? I don't know. Okay, there it is. And I also have a link on my Facebook page. It says the Book Now button. It's a blue button. If you're on a tablet, I think it's down below or to the right. If you're on a computer, it's in the right-hand section. But anyway, that's where we're going with this eclipse season. And I'm going to incorporate all of them, all the Gemini, Sagittarius ones, because it's not just... Why? Because Gemini is a mutable sign. And Sagittarius, its opposite, is looking at how to take the things that you have been dreaming about and literally have them manifest in physical form. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the session. So, okay. Let me just focus on how else to move beyond resistance with these cards. And if you're watching this in a replay or on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, and pass it along to other people that you think might benefit. Thank you. Moving on. Oh, beyond resistance. Hang on. Not every card that falls is meant to... Oh, okay. Well, we like this. Thank you. Let's pay attention to the repetition. What Where am I? What's the repetition that shows up in your life that you call fate? What is the repetitive action that you are engaged in that is creating the vibrational energy that you're putting out that keeps bringing back the same thing? Every time I go for this job, I have a boss who's mean and cranky. Every time, anytime you say every time, or whenever I do this, this is what happens. So we want to look at repetition in your behavior. And repetition is also about how you create matter. Because when you focus on the pattern, there it is. But the repetition can also be a positive thing, and it's a reinforcement. And again, we always look for validation in our lives, right? So whatever is in your world, you've manifested. I know it sounds like a pile of crap because you're thinking, I don't want to be fired. I have bills to pay. Okay, but some part of you is relieved, was terrified, and that's all you focused on. There's a nature of thing. There are circumstances. And I want you to look at the repetitive thought that you have that is a negative, because that's the frequency that we want to turn the volume down on. I would say, this requires a clarity card for me. So hang on one second. Repetition. Clarity card, please, for repetition. Okay. So reflection. This is a pretty card. What is the reflection that you see when you look at any subject in your life? And I think you're going to see your repetitive thoughts come up from the shadows. Not the dark, evil. I don't mean evil, but the dark. It just means it's not illuminated. It's just the absence of divine light, of pure conscious love. Pure conscious love. I don't call it he, she, God, goddess. It's pure conscious love. So what is the reflection that you see when you're looking at the world? Because it will speak volumes. If you see angry, annoyed, judgmental people, then one of two things is happening. Either you are that and you're not aware of it and you're not acknowledging it, or you are that, or needing to set a boundary to that by changing your focus. It's one or the other. So either you are that, whatever you see reflected. And if you see a positive in this room and a negative in that room, well, which one are you going to give attention to? That's the repetitive part. Repetition. And then the third card that fell out literally is we are one. We are one energy. So what you're thinking and feeling, I feel and think. So I believe in you. I have faith in you. I know you're pure conscious love. I know you don't have issues that are not solvable. You are the manifestation of love on this world, on this planet. You're an extension of the light. You exist here, now, everywhere. What do you want to do with that? That's the exciting part. And the moment you go, yeah, I want to go paint a picture. Oh, but I don't know how to paint. Boom. But creates resistance. Let's not go there, friends. Okay, I'm coming back. I am coming back on Monday the 9th, and we're going to gear up for the 11/11 and what you can do with the 11/11 energy, with Mars going direct in energy, representing your need to get going, and the eclipses. Solar eclipse, Sagittarius in December 14th, 23 degrees at 8 minutes, and the lunar eclipse in Gemini, November 30th, 2020 at 8 degrees. And so I'm going to leave you with the idea that you, in this moment, no matter when you're watching this, you have the power to utilize your next thought to create expansion towards your desires. What's that thought going to be? Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being sparkly. As always, I wish you peace. I will be back on Monday. Come join me. Pass it on.